We are United by Rice, where we talk about all things APINH in entertainment and beyond. My name is Junko Goda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ben Lee. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Junko. It's been a few days. I had to
Yeah.
take a little bit of break with travels that we'll
Yeah.
talk
Me too.
about
I've been
in.
busy too, so.
Yeah, we'll talk about kind of what we've been up to in whether it's in this episode or one of the next couple episodes. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll get caught up. In this episode, though, we will play an interview that I did with Jona Xiao, who is a new voice actor in the Marvel series Eyes of Wakanda. And she plays the legendary Iron Fist. And when that was announced, and then when I saw the episode, it was a big deal because I had not realized she was the first female Iron Fist in a television or film depiction. And the Iron Fist character has had a little bit of a troubled, I guess, cinematic history. So we can get into that a bit.
Yeah.
But she's also got some other interesting anecdotes to her I guess her bio that would be fun not only for us to talk about but also for listeners to get to know her. But first of all, how have you been? What's new in the world for you?
Oh. Actually, I did finish watching Butterfly, but I don't know if we want to save that for
sure.
another. I did a whole bunch of binging. Yeah, I'm kind of in a big stretch of work right now, and I realized like Labor Day weekend was like my real true downtime, although I was still working here and there. But yeah, I found myself catching up and binging a lot, which I should have noted more. Actually, I watched anything from Butterfly, catching up with Chief of War. Yeah, Chief of War.
Yep.
As well as I threw in was it The Monkey? It's a thriller. It's a gore thriller.
Yes.
Kind of
the monkey with the symbols type of monkey, right?
Yeah. That you do something to it and you die, kind of thing. So I threw that in there too. So I was watching a whole mishmash of stuff.
Okay, so that was your playlist the last week.
Yeah.
What did you think of Butterfly?
I definitely kind of I dissected it, I should say. Yeah. So I like the writing. I like that it was a strained father-daughter relationship. And I definitely see some of that in my own personal life that I can empathize with. So that was interesting. But on the flip side, I thought that the fight sequences were a little bit lacking in the storytelling aspect. It's just a lot of the sequences just were not telling the struggle or contributing to the story. So I was kind of questioning choreo choices there.
Okay. I mean, obviously that's a world well. For me, I kind of like the curved knife guy and some of those action scenes.
Yeah, the scary guy.
I don't actually know how well trained Daniel Day-Kim is as an action fighter guy, nor his co-star Reyna Hardesty. So maybe they're working with what they have too, as far as less martial arts trained. But I don't know. You might know better than me if either of them have that type of training.
Yeah, but nonetheless, if you're gonna sell people on a story, you should at least they have DDK was on Hawaii 5-0 for such a long time. I'm sure he had a lot of stuff going on. Reyna, she's still relatively young, so to speak, so I'm not sure, but I would expect that they would have gone through proper training and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, this is a technical detail that you would pick up better than me. What did you think of Reyna, actually?
I kind of liked her. Oh, you know what? I liked that she was written as a traumatized young woman, and just and I like how they don't tiptoe how she treats her half sister. The
stepmom, which we will find out whether she has caused her harm or not. I guess
Yeah,
if
but
there's a
with the
season 2.
with the
Yeah.
stepmom, you can actually, they're having a conversation, but with the child, it's a little bit more like it's a little insidious because she knows what she's doing,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think. And she understands, like, as parents, like, I don't want to spoil it,
Yeah.
but, what she was doing. It's a question mark, I guess, whether or not how much she's been brainwashed over the last 9 years to be really
Sure.
dissociated from reality and social norms. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I think that's why I actually think she's this is a star-making role for her. She
Yeah.
shows that whether it's unpredictableness or hard to read, play, so she's got this very at times very emotional, very touching, very yeah, she's all in with DDK. And then there are
Mhm.
moments where you're like, what is she really thinking? And she does a lot with her expressions and eyes. And then she's got just that Hapa thing going on where she could probably play roles as a pure Asian or roles as a
Mm.
half Asian.
Yeah.
She's got a good look about her.
Mm.
So I thought had a pretty strong. I mean, she should at least get all of like Maggie Q's television action roles, right? Going forward, I
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah,
I don't
that's
know if
true.
I don't know if she's a big film star or not, but she
Right.
I think is
That's a good point, though.
viable as an
Yeah.
action star that can do more than
Mm. Than
than
action.
just
Yeah.
fight. But yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, can do some lines.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's still a good. Again, we 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 take any effort where actually it was a comic that's origins are not based on
Mm.
Koreans or Asians, that
Mm.
they've kind of converted to that.
Mm.
I think that's pretty cool, and I'm happy to see that on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking or going
Mm.
back to Jonah, so
Yeah.
it's been a while, but were you a fan of any of the Netflix Marvel series? So there was Daredevil,
Daredevil. That was a big one.
Iron
That's
Fist.
good.
I actually, if I
Right,
go in
right.
order, I think it
Yeah.
was Daredevil.
Daredevil, yeah.
Was it Jessica Jones? Um, who's the big strong guy?
Uh,
Luke Cage. Luke Cage.
Luke Cage. No, it was
Yeah, Luke
Luke Cage
Cage.
and then Jessica Jones, wasn't it?
It could be. I think.
I
I think you're right.
think.
And then
Yeah.
Iron Fist, and
And then,
then
yeah.
Defenders, and then I
Oh,
think
yeah.
and Punisher. So one
Punisher.
more.
Yeah.
And then I believe Punisher, Daredevil, and Iron Fist all had second seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil had a third season, and then now, of course, is on Disney.
Yeah.
We haven't heard, I think, any official announcements about the other series, although I think maybe Punisher is coming to Disney and will be a
Yeah,
character in the
yeah.
next Daredevil show. I think
Mm.
Kristen Ritter will show up as Jessica Jones in the next Daredevil show. But who we're not going to see, I think, in any way, shape, or form, is Danny Rand as Iron Fist again in a Disney show, and hence the transition of bringing in Jona Xiao, who plays a character named Jirani, as the new Iron Fist, and very notably the first female Iron Fist. So very cool. Going back to my question, were you a fan of any of those series in particular?
Yeah, I've watched all of them. I mean, they're entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they tend to be like, at the time they were like the buzz shows, and stuff. So I would definitely watch it. But can you give us a review of how the female Iron Fist in the comics is like? And is it, as far as what you watch, is it anything to do, or is it like a departure from?
I think it's kind of a departure. I don't know, actually. Like, Iron Fist is not a so the other show that came on Netflix, now that I think about it, was Defenders, and I think Iron Fist is part of that team, the Defenders. But there hasn't been a Defenders comic in a while. He's not an Avenger, he's not an X-Men, he's not a mutant. He's a little bit like Shang-Chi, right? Like, you just haven't seen Iron Fist stories very much. So I can't say I'm deep enough to know. I'm pretty certain, though, that what they spun for Eyes of Wakanda is probably quite a bit different, because this is now baked more in a vibranium search for vibranium story tied to the people of Wakanda, and Tarani comes onto the screen and is I don't know how to show it, right? But it's just a very cute but beautifully drawn character. And
Okay.
we Jonah and I actually talked about this in the interview because she
Mhm.
never got to see any of the drawings or artwork
Yeah, because they
before.
recorded first and then animatics
Yeah,
later, which is well, there's two depending on what country, and at this point, it's just either you do the animatics first and then voice to it, or the opposite, which is usually done in most of Asia, I think, which is um animatics first and then record
okay.
to the animatics. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
different workflow. So yeah,
she
we'll never
uh,
see it, and you're just
yeah,
trusting your director knows what the heck they're doing because you feel like you're flying blind.
sure. So I don't know for sure. I guess I could look it up, but Jonah,
Mhm.
I interviewed her the way I'm talking to you now
Right.
virtually, but I assume she's probably somewhere between 5 feet and 5'3", your standard Asian American girl.
Hmm.
And the character's kind of drawn like that,
Hmm.
a smaller character. So I thought that was a lot of fun.
Ah.
And then, I can I think we've had some actors on that have certainly done voice work. Like I'm sure Ronnie Chang
Yeah.
does a lot of voice work,
Right.
but
As a
I haven't
toothbrush,
talked to too many. Yeah, but
toothpaste,
I
whichever it
haven't
was.
talked to too many voice actors,
Mm.
and it's always fun to hear how different they sound.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good lord. There's been a lot of dog noises on this
That's
intro
okay.
too.
I could barely hear it.
Okay, good.
Um, she does give a definite Mulan quality voice to the character in Eyes of
Okay.
Wakanda, which I think is also a lot of fun.
So kind of like
Um,
lower, like youthful. I guess I guess my question is a character um more kind of like inexperienced kind of a character, or is she already kind of settled in with her place within the story, or
I think she's, mm, you know, probably like a year one or two character, like a
mm-hmm.
near the beginning of her powers.
Mm.
I don't want to spoil much because people
Yeah.
can watch, and
Yeah.
it's a 30-minute episode or so. It's a very easy
Yeah.
watch.
Disney,
Um,
right? Yes,
yeah,
Disney. Yeah.
yes, Disney Plus. And the important question I asked her is this canon, right?
Yeah.
And I think again, the Iron Fist show on Netflix was the most troubled of
Mm-hmm.
those shows. It was the
Yep.
least popular, the least critically well received.
Yep.
A lot of accusations of whitewashing the character, even though Danny Rand, Iron
Right.
Fist, is often depicted by a white character in the comic books too.
Mm.
But I think because it's a martial arts type of character,
Mm.
maybe there was a hope that Disney would turn the character or use an Asian actor more
Mm.
often. So I think this confirms that we will not see Finn Jones, who played the character, get another
Mm.
chance.
Mm.
Nor will we see, for people that did stick around for Iron Fist season 2, all the way to the very last couple minutes of the last episode, Jessica Henwick, who is in the series with Finn Jones as Colleen Wing, does kind of show that she's accumulated some power of the fist, and it's almost a little bit of a teaser of could she have become an Iron Fist, either another character with similar powers or maybe become the successor, even though Danny Rand hadn't been killed. Again, I'm dropping
Mm.
some facts from a Netflix show from many years ago that people hated, but I actually really love Jessica Henwick's performance in
Ah.
those Marvel series. She was in both the Iron Fist series and in the Defenders as well.
Oh
And I
yeah.
wouldn't have minded seeing her actually play
Mm.
the live action Iron Fist. So who knows?
Ah.
But we now know Iron Fist is a female, an Asian
Mm.
female.
Mm.
And if a live action Iron Fist shows up in one of the Marvel Phase 6 or Phase 7 movies,
Right.
then we could get another Asian superhero. So fun conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, another trivia
Yes.
question for
Yes.
you. Or
Okay.
not, I guess not trivia, but just a personal question.
Yeah.
Another fun fact about Jonah is, in parallel to acting, she somehow got connected to playing flag football to the point
No.
where she started playing flag football professionally
Oh,
and
yeah,
competing for the US team as a
yeah.
quarterback, which, I can't imagine happens all the time and whatnot, but it was such a
Although,
fun story to
yeah.
hear,
Is
especially
that
since she hadn't played
yeah,
in like as a young adult or as
right.
a kid. She played really not until she got into her late 20s. What was your question? Oh, I thought you were going to ask something.
Oh, no.
Okay, so anyway, do you have any hidden athletic talents that I haven't learned about?
Oh, good lord. Dodgeball. No, I don't know. It's just like my usual, like, Aikido and mounted archery, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Is there
all
any?
of your yeah, I mean those don't. I mean those are athletic feats, but I'm talking about like I guess I'm talking about like did you play any team
Sports.
sports or
Oh,
individual
that
sports in like high
side.
school or college?
Volleyball
Play
for a
volleyball?
short person.
Okay.
It was fun.
What?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was fun. It was something fun to do in high school.
Okay. Okay.
That's the extent of it.
What I'm hearing is no natural like you might go pro and play another sport
Oh
on
yeah,
the
at this
side.
age, yeah, that'd be great. That's realistic. Although I thought flag football was like a new was it like being featured in the Olympics or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, so she
Oh, I
was
am
I
right.
think yeah, no, so she was on at least, a I can't remember the exact detail, but she was trying to make that team. Yes. Yeah. I know. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, she started out I think as like a college lacrosse player, so she had obviously some real athleticism, right, to be able to. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I thought that was a really really fun fact about her as well. And then I guess the last note on Wakanda. Yeah. Oh, sports. I did. I played basketball and baseball, so all American kind of sports. Not as cool as Aikido and what do you call it? Mountain archery? Mounted archery. Yeah. I mean, you basically were training to be like Mulan. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Uh, oh boy, it's been months. Exactly, it's been months. I was playing probably once a week up until about 9 months ago. Broke a finger. We also, the group of guys that rent the gym together, we keep losing the gym. We're not getting our time slot, and because they're all similar age as me, they're dropping like flies. It's like time to retire. So not so much. And then you probably know I play golf, but I'm not sure that that's as athletic of an opportunity of a sport. So yeah, my days are numbered as an athlete. You might know, what is that? Is there a particular martial art? Um, oh yeah, on the plane flight yesterday, I watched Karate Kid Legends, um, and I saw some of it in this, but I also remember Jessica Henwick in Iron Fist and her character Colleen Wing usually fighting with a stick. And in the number of times I've seen martial artists fighting with like a staff or practicing with a staff, it's very pretty. Um, I would love to know, like, is there a name for that? And are there like, can I go take a class and learn that, or is that? I'm talking about like, I'm talking, yeah, like a 5 or 6 foot long thin staff, you know, like a pull cue almost, right? Yeah, that's like Daredevil. Yeah, that's like Daredevil. But um, okay, yeah, yeah. Like, is that something that's taught as a part of a martial art, or is it its own martial art, as far as you know? Okay, yeah. Mm. Yeah, which is why I don't want to learn from YouTube, Junko. I want to go learn from an actual pro. I don't. Hmm. Anyway, I am not very well prepared to defend myself, so I feel like I should learn something where I can just take like the clothing hanger rod and be able to defend my family. Anyway, okay, yeah, yeah, see. Okay, okay. Anyway, I think we can go ahead and play the episode with Jonah. Please continue to follow us on United by Rice, the podcast, or United by Rice podcast on Instagram, and then the United by Rice podcast is on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, and on Spotify. And then you can follow Junko at Go Junko and me at Ben Lee. And it's been a pleasure, and we'll talk again soon. All right, bye bye. Hi, everyone. I'm back with Jona Xiao, our guest for this episode. And Jona, very excited to talk to you and very happy to meet you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Well, what triggered me to reach out to you and get you on the podcast was, of course, the most recent news, but also episode that I've already watched now of Eyes of Wakanda, and you're casting as Iron Fist. So, we'll get into the moment, but I want to even get some backstory of, were you an Iron Fist fan, Iron Fist knowledgeable? He's not the most, I'm saying he, but I guess she is not the most popular or famous character in Marvel, not an Avenger, not an X-Men. Were you aware of the Iron Fist lore previous to auditioning for this role?
Yeah, I was. Admittedly, I didn't know a lot about Iron Fist, so I had to do a lot more research after realizing I booked this role. And a lot of people think that, yeah, Iron Fist is associated with, like, specifically Danny Rand, of the Netflix show. And Iron Fist is actually a mantle, as I came to learn, or a title. And so in Eyes of Wakanda, Jirani, my character, you hear how she earns that title. So I definitely had to do a lot more research after finding out I booked the role.
Okay. And assuming you hadn't watched the Netflix show prior, but did you go and watch it as a little bit of preparation for the role?
Oh, I had already seen parts of Iron Fist, but that's
Okay.
why I associated more like Danny Rand with Iron Fist. And I was like, wait, this is cool. Like, there's like a female Iron Fist. And there have been Iron Fists of different genders in the comics, which is really cool. And I didn't know that until I did research.
Sure. And poor Finn, he's been blasted, of course, for that role. And a lot of it not his fault, right? A lot of it just being, I think people were hoping the first casting, the first big entry into the cinematic universe for the character would have been an Asian actor of some sort. And when I read the headline of you being cast as the first female Iron Fist, I scratched my head a bit because, like, wait a minute, wasn't Jessica Henwick at the but it kind of ended there and we never got a season 3 because I feel like that almost was the direction it was going to head. So congratulations, you are the first.
Thank you. Well, yeah, that's a great point. Jessica Henwick's character, Colleen Wing, is like a badass, and I love that so many people loved her character in the Iron Fist Netflix series. So my understanding is that she temporarily got the powers of the Iron Fist, but was not the Iron Fist.
Right.
So that was my understanding. But
Yeah.
really amazing uh, role. And I really love and appreciate that nowadays it is so common to have amazing, well written, layered, complex, badass female characters. Like, maybe many, many years ago, it was more rare and like something to celebrate. And now I love that it's become normal. And I'm really
Mhm.
thrilled by that because that wasn't the case when I was growing up.
Sure. Now you mentioned when you heard that you had gotten the role. So, did you audition specifically for the Iron Fist character, or was it a broader audition, or did they just find you and say, "Hey, we want Jonah for this character"?
Yeah, great question. So when I did audition for this specific character, and her name was Durrani, and Durrani, this particular character was specifically created for the series. So there wasn't
Hmm.
Durrani didn't show up in the comics, and so I had no idea that the role I was auditioning for that she was the Iron Fist. So the sides, because Marvel is very secretive and protective as they should be,
Hmm.
throughout the entire audition process, all I knew was she was an amazing martial artist, but I had no idea that she was the Iron Fist until
Yeah.
I booked it. And so, yeah, in the callback, the casting directors were super awesome, gave me great direction. They were like, "Yeah, we've been searching for this. Um, we've been looking for this actor to play this role for quite some time." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I felt even more grateful and excited when I found out I booked it. And it wasn't until I was reading the script and it said like, "I am Iron Fist!" exclamation point, and I was like, I didn't know even when I booked it. It
Yeah.
wasn't until I read the script. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that was a
and what do
very
you
pleasant,
know?
pleasant surprise.
Yeah, what do you know about this show? Fans, I think, care about things like this. Like, is this canon, for instance? Is this considered part of the MCU? If we were to
Yes,
ever
it is.
see a live action Iron Fist, it might be Jirani. Is that your understanding?
Yeah. So uh, I don't know how confirmed things are. I had heard that Iron Fist will show up in Shang-Chi 2,
Hmm.
I believe, from rumors. So that would be amazing to get to play Jirani, um, like in live action. That would be a dream of mine.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, honestly, it would be a dream of mine to see Shang-Chi 2 because, we keep
Right?
waiting. I haven't heard any official announcement about any of the, frankly, it feels like Marvel's in a little bit of a reset, so you don't know what projects are
Mm,
moving forward or not, but hopefully I know Simu is shooting Avengers Doomsday now, so we know we're going to see him at least, but hopefully there is a
yes.
Shang-Chi too, and it would be great to see the story of Iron Fist and his whole world in that show. um
Yes.
so, at what point did you see the actual animation and illustrations of the character? Because this is another highlight, I think, of the show. The character's beautifully
Oh
drawn. The
man.
show as a
Oh,
whole is beautifully drawn.
yeah, like the animation is stunning. It's inspired by modern, like hand painted African art, which is incredible.
Mhm.
I I basically saw it when y'all saw it. I was sent the
Okay.
trailer to share, and I was like, "Wow, this is beautiful." And like screenshots of I saw it alongside you all because when we do voiceover at that phase, like a lot of times the animation isn't done yet. Sometimes they base some of the animation off of the actor
Hmm.
as well. Sometimes it can be inspired. So I didn't get to see any of it while I was actually recording for
Mm.
Durrani.
So, when you were doing your actual voice work, what were you looking at? Just sketches at that point?
Nothing,
Just
nothing
script?
visual.
Just pure script?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, well, tying back to what you said, do you think any part of the character is physically meant to represent you in some way? I mean, I know it's a masked
Huh.
character, so it's tough to see, but
Yeah, you see a lot of her with mask and then sometimes unmasked. Um, that's a good question. People have mentioned, audiences have mentioned that they feel like Durrani looks like me, and I take that as a
Mhm.
compliment. I'm like, really?
Sure.
Okay. But I actually don't know if um, my specific appearance ended up playing into the actual animation.
I agree. I think Girardi looks a little bit like you. I mean, I'm trying to like take off the,
Yes.
hey, this is an Asian character and we see so few Asian characters, so of course it looks like Jonah. I'm trying to like take off that lens, but um okay. So your voice, hearing it
Mhm.
now, obviously you have a very different voice than the character Durrani. What went into crafting the voice? I feel like I felt there was almost a little Ming Na Wen Mulan
Mhm.
elegance to the voice, and maybe even a
And
trace, maybe even a trace of accent, but not a strong accent. But
mhm.
I'd love to hear what you were told to craft, and then ultimately what you decided to kind of pull in and bring to your vision of what the voice should be like.
Yeah, first of all, I'm so thrilled that you got a little Mulan um, influence because I was trying to channel a little bit of Mulan.
Oh, okay.
Mulan's always been like a very inspiring character for me throughout my whole life. And I was like, I would always love to play like a live action Mulan or something. So yeah, that was definitely one of the inspirations that I drew from. And I was asked to do a light accent, and so I feel comfortable with the Chinese accent. I was made in China. My parents have a very thick Chinese accent, and so I've um, had an accent in a few different TV and film roles over the years. So that was something that is easy for me to drop into, and then from there, I think it was just really tapping into this grounded strength, and like a little bit lower in my register than you're hearing now, and someone who like I think for Durrani, it's really about protecting Kunlun, protecting legacy, and just doing all these things as part of something bigger than herself. So I think that
Hmm.
carries a certain weight that influences the voice.
Hmm. I know that there's, I think, 4 episodes out. Are there plans to see you again in whether it's an extension of this season or future seasons of the show? Anything contractually that you're signed up to do more of?
Currently, I do not know if they're going to
Okay,
do like a second season. That would be amazing if they did, and they could just explore more of history and how Wakanda has shaped history over time. So that would be really cool. But to my knowledge, no. But I would love to work with this incredible creative team anytime on
sure,
any project.
sure. Now, bigger picture wise, I wouldn't think that this is the biggest role of your career, but does it feel like the biggest role of your career because it's attached to Marvel?
It's a good question. So, fun fact, I was actually cut from Spider-Man Homecoming
Yeah, I
years
was going to ask
ago.
you about this.
and
Actually, and there's
I took,
rumors, so I want to talk about that after this.
yeah. So I played a character named Gina,
Mhm.
who worked at the Daily Bugle and was Marissa Tomei's assistant.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so it was a small supporting role, and I was devastated when I found out I got cut. And I told
Mm.
myself, I bet it happens, and it was still like an amazing experience that I'm grateful to have had. But I told myself, okay, next time I book a Marvel project, it's going to be a role that's too big for them to cut.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I guess that worked out.
Yeah, I wish we could all say next time I get a Marvel role, though. So I'm very happy that worked out for you. That's incredible.
You have to
You
believe
know,
it first, right?
yeah. Well, I read this one little. I can't remember if it was in Wikipedia or something that talked about Homecoming and talked about how
Mm.
you denied whether it was an intentional Asian American character. So my assumption in reading that was that maybe people were speculating when you were cast at the time that maybe you were Cindy Moon or Silk, one of the actual Asian superheroes. But
Yes, there
is
was
that is
speculation and guesses, and it was fun to read those and not be able to say anything.
yeah. And even today, as far as you know, all you were ever intended to be was Marissa Tomei's assistant, Aunt May's
Yes,
assistant.
correct. And it
Okay,
was a
got it.
role that was open ethnicity and not specifically written for an
I see.
Asian from my what I remember. And I
I see.
actually, for my initial audition, I think I was asked to do a New York accent. But
Hmm.
then when we filmed, we did standard American.
Okay.
So I guess
Okay.
me and accents.
Yeah. Now, are you pretty prepared for what it's like to be a Marvel character? It means you're going to start getting invited to Comic Cons and all those type of things. Is that all part of the deal that you knew you were signing up for and something you look forward to?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm so thrilled by overall the general great reception the show has had
Hmm.
and how welcoming people have been of like this female Iron Fist. There are people who are not as happy, but that always happens. I think for me, to be honest, I did not anticipate this type of, like, I knew, but I didn't know. Does that make sense? So it has been feeling like the last few
Sure.
weeks, like really surreal, where I knew the importance of playing like a role like this, but I didn't expect this type of reception, and I'm so pleasantly surprised.
Hmm. Is the negativity largely the "Hey, Iron Fist should be a male" type of reaction, or are there other aspects to it that,
I think that's the main one, and like
yeah?
comments about, oh, this is Eyes of Wakanda, and
Mm,
oh, this is a
mm,
DEI hire. So it's more of that narrative, and people. It seems like feeling frustrated that Marvel feels like their perception is that Marvel is arbitrarily just like doing gender swaps and like, what should we do next?
sure.
Should we make Iron Man a woman? Like those kind of comments. And I think
Yeah.
it comes from a place of maybe them feeling like, oh, this Marvel MCU is not following like the is not interpreting the material in the way that they should, but everyone has different opinions.
Hmm.
And I think that the direction that the creative team took for Eyes of Wakanda is like brilliant.
Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, there were equally critics of casting a white male as Iron Fist, right? So you can't please everybody. It is the fanboy hate on top of toxic masculinity, on top of MAGA and all that horrible stuff. But rise above, right? And I think people. I hope you feel that as a whole, people are very excited.
Yes,
We need
absolutely.
more. We need more Asian superheroes. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and like there weren't many at all that I saw on the screen growing up. And when my dad, we would always have fights about acting because I wanted to be an actor. And at one point, he was like, "Listen, maybe if you were white, I could support you, maybe."
Mm,
And then I was like, "Hey, but there's like Lucy Liu." Because there's
hmm.
like, there are
Right.
no Asian actors. I'm like, well, there's Lucy Liu and there's some others as well. But I'm so glad that there's a lot more Asian actors that you've seen, you've heard of nowadays. And I think that we're heading in the right direction for sure.
For sure. That's part of why we do this podcast is there's headed in the right direction, but how do you sustain it? How do you make sure there's enough
Mm,
opportunities? There
yes.
needs to equally be enough parts, even though there's more actors now. So
Hmm.
it's very much part of our mission. In many ways, if you read your bio, you're the all-American girl, grew up in St. Louis, lacrosse, playing football. But I know that it probably wasn't that simple, and I know there was a spark to your career just based on what I've read. So, uh, talk to us a little bit about kind of your journey growing up Asian American in the Midwest, and then ultimately
Mm,
why elements of your growing up led to you wanting to become an actor. And then maybe you can just kind of keep going with that, and I'd love to hear a lot about Activate and what you're trying to do to
yeah.
help others who are in your shoes.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, growing up, so first, when my family and I immigrated to the US, we moved to upstate New York, but I
New
consider
York
St. Louis
first.
my,
Okay. Yep.
yeah, but St. Louis was my hometown. And in upstate New York, we lived in a trailer park. And I think for me, there was a lot of, some feelings of lack and like hope, and like TV and film gave me more hope. It helped me understand the world more. It helped me feel more connected to the world. And so
Mm,
I loved film and TV growing up. Um, when I remember, I think in elementary school, I would rush home and I would do my math homework while watching Passions, Days of Our Lives, like VR Troopers, Power Rangers, Dina, Warrior Princess. Like I just loved um, like the places that you could go with film and TV. And so when I was 12, I had to take a drama class, and we did Rappin' which is the rapping version of Rumpelstiltskin. And that's when I like fell in love with acting, because I loved making people like laugh and feel.
mhm,
And from there, I got really excited. I was like, I want to be an actor. And I unfortunately got my parents involved in a scam
mm,
with a talent agency. And so my parents didn't really have much money, and I lost them thousands of dollars that they didn't
mm,
really have. And so I felt very guilty and ashamed. But I look back, and that experience allowed me to, like, I think is a big reason I feel so protective of actors. And I'm like, there's so many times this company and many companies similar are like scamming people. And I was like, I never want another Google search result for like this company and the word scam ever again. Is that
Mm.
realistic? No. But that was something that like was very specific and visceral for me. And that's what one of the things that helped inspire me to start Career Activate. So it's a company, an education training company that's helped thousands of actors from new to Emmy winning
Mm.
with like the business side of show business. So they can actually understand how to make a living as an actor. Because for me, acting was a very, very expensive hobby for a very long time.
Mhm.
It's something that I wish I'd had in the first decade of my career. And so,
Sure.
yeah, I'm very grateful to get to be part of other actors' journeys.
Sure. And the scam, I can imagine it's here. I'm a talent agency, pay us thousands of dollars, we'll represent you,
Take our
throwing fake.
classes. Yeah,
Yeah.
like take our classes. For instance, I had to take a how to walk the runway class, and
Mm.
I've always been short, and I've never no disrespect. I just have never been interested in modeling, and
Mhm.
so we were forced to pay a lot of money for these classes that weren't really that useful in order to be represented.
I
Yeah.
see. I see. And then they never had actual parts for you to audition to, I'm sure.
I never auditioned for like a specific role. Like every
Yeah.
month, there would be this cattle call of people from the agency, and we would read like a one sentence commercial, like the same line. Everyone would read it, and that was it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, One of the most fascinating things, of course, I found when looking you up was football. And it's just not what you expect. I look up people all the time on IMDb. It's like, wait a second, she played like football professional. So where is your football career? And when, I think I'd love to know just even how you got into it. I know you played lacrosse originally,
Yes.
but you got into U.S. women's flag football.
Yes,
To
I was
what level?
yeah, it was such a surreal moment. I fell in love with football. I think it was after a breakup, like gosh, how old am I now? Like 14 years ago or something. I showed
Okay.
up to like beach flag football. I never really watched sports. And so I like to play sports, but I never watched them.
Uh-huh.
And the only route I knew was a slant. That's the only route I knew. And I was like, can I throw? And the organizer was like, okay. And I was in the huddle. I'm like, you run a slant. That's the only thing I knew. You, and then I would be like, do this. You go deep. And one of the guys was like, she just told you to go deep, bro. And I'm like,
Jeez,
all
terrible.
right.
Lame.
And so I think I've been used to having to, I guess, prove myself. And I always felt I put pressure on myself to play well because there weren't really many female quarterbacks. And
Yeah.
so how I did I knew would be, unfortunately, a reflection of, depending on how I did, fortunately or unfortunately, would be a reflection of like, oh, can women really quarterback? Can they really take the helm in a very
Mhm.
male dominated sport? And so that was a challenge that I really found exciting. And I loved the leadership element. And I got really into it and I started traveling and playing. And then um, like a few years ago, I actually played on the Team USA prelim roster as a
Mhm.
quarterback.
Mhm.
So that was a surreal experience. I never in my life envisioned myself like representing my country in a sport. And so it was definitely one of those like, I've had many pinch me moments in my life, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah, well, and most people don't learn to play quarterback in their 20s, man or woman, right? So how did you go about like the training? Like how did you even learn how to throw a football?
Yeah, so from lacrosse, I always like throwing stuff, dodgeball, lacrosse. It's like this motion, right? But when I
Sure.
first started throwing, it was awful. Like I would bring the ball like all the way down to my waist and
Uh-huh.
then throw. So it was terrible. My form was terrible. So I'm a big fan of like coaching, mentorship, learning. I believe anything can be learned.
Mhm.
So hence, I think another reason why I started Career Activate. So I worked with some quarterback coaches. The guy that was running that beach flag football pickup game, he saw potential in me and was really kind, Josh, to like coach me up, like teach me like the X's and O's. And I love strategy.
Mhm.
So that, and then film study and playing a lot of games, all of that really getting into the sports psychology side of things. So I like went really deep.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, at one point I was like, yeah, one of my hobbies is flag football, and one of my friends was like, hobby? This is not a hobby. This is a passion. I was like, okay. And now it's led me to play. I've been really grateful to get to travel and play in like China and um, Germany and Brazil and like so many places all around the world.
And you talk about making a career and making a living as an actor. Were you making a living? Were you getting paid to do this, or were you putting more money in for all the training and travel and other things that you had to do?
Definitely paying more for sure, because we don't yet have a professional flag league yet.
Right.
There are ones being rolled out, but I did, fun fact, one time lose a championship game where the prize was $200,000. I did
Oh,
lose that.
200,000 for the team or per individual?
For the team,
Okay.
it was a big.
Doesn't sound as bad, but sure.
But yeah, it was really cool to even
Yeah.
get to that point and to uh, that was also another surreal experience.
Yeah.
So
And
we usually play for like prize money, so we've won like cash prizes and stuff. But
okay.
definitely, I put more money into football than the prize money for sure, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a lovely passion of mine.
Yeah. Are you still playing?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
I
wonderful.
am. I'm playing in a tournament in Vegas end of next week, as an example. So yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to start to have people in the crowd dressed as Iron Fist cheer you on, probably.
It would be ridiculous. I thought about cosplaying as Iron Fist because I know some other actors have done that with roles
Yes.
that they played or voiced, and I am very interested in doing that. So
I think you totally should. And you're right. Like, especially, I'm trying to think. A lot of the young actresses and actors have done, especially like early. I think in the I guess the arc of being the character. I'm trying to think. Like, who's the young lady that plays Ms. Marvel? But I know she definitely did that.
Rachel,
Is it Rachel?
Rachel
Is that her name?
Brosnahan. Oh
No,
wait,
no, no, no.
sorry. I heard Maisel. Okay, you said Marvel.
Marvel, yeah, Ms.
Marvel.
Marvel, Kamala
Brie
Khan. I'm
Larson.
trying to think of. No, no, no. The TV show, the Indian actress. She's a young actress, but I know she cosplayed
Oh,
as her, um,
oh,
and was like a huge fan of the character before she starred in the
oh
part.
yes, Kamala
Yeah,
Khan. Yes,
yeah, yeah. I think you
yes.
should totally do that. New York
Yeah.
Comic Con's
Okay.
coming up. That would be the next one, I think, to do it at. But that would be totally fun.
Ooh, that would be okay. I'm gonna do
Uh,
it at some point. I will. I will.
have you cosplayed before?
Very little. Like I love costumes, and I just am
Yep.
really, to be honest, I'm really bad at like putting together my own costume. But I've had friends and people who have like, if they're like, "Hey, let me make you something," or "Hey, like, why don't you wear this?" I'm so grateful and I get so excited. But I'm not good at like making that stuff on my own, to be
Well,
honest.
now you can call your friends at Marvel and just say, "Hey, I need a professional grade,
I need the helmet. I need
costume
the
to represent the show accurately," right? You don't
that's
have
right.
to. So,
It'd be so
anyway,
cool to have like the 3D version of like the beautiful outfit and the helmet and the like. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
uh,
something, and you need
Gianni
something
looks
that
so
will
cool.
glow, like something on your hand or that will glow. That
I
would be
want to
really
glow in the
cool.
dark fist.
Yes, yes, yes. A question about being an athlete and an actor.
Hmm?
Any
Yeah.
similarities between the two? Anything you take from one to the other?
Oh, so many transferable skills. I think just the being able to perform under pressure and the
Hmm.
mindset and the just collaborating as a team. I think that's something I love about team sports and working on a film or TV show. It's like hundreds of people, like all working together to create and execute a single vision. And same thing with football. Like, hey, we're all trying to win together. So how do we leverage everyone's strengths and abilities and lead this ship to like a result? And I love that. I for myself, I don't feel it just doesn't feel as fulfilling if I just like do it alone. It's not as appealing to me.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, we talked about earlier, there's more opportunities for Asian American actors, but the industry is also changing. and there's also more actors. And I'm just curious, like, how do you see the state of things today, and what what are you hoping this role, and whether it was this role or not, is able to kind of propel you forward into other opportunities?
Yeah, I think the openness and the generally good reception of like a female Iron Fist, I think bodes well for just casting that might seem on the surface to be non-traditional. I think we
Yeah.
are embracing that direction more and more, and I see more of that coming up. Also, I've been really focusing on what is instead of what if. Like, I don't know the future of AI. I don't know the exact future of this industry, but I do know that, because we do work with actors, like I do know that actors, myself, our clients, our students are currently auditioning and booking roles.
Hmm.
So that will still be happening in the foreseeable future. And I actually, yes, there's some fear, there's some uncertainty, and there's also a lot of excitement
Hmm.
because there's a lot of actors and there's a lot more streaming platforms than ever before. There's a lot more ways to share a message, to share a story than ever before. So there's actually a lot of opportunity.
Sure. Netflix was change, right? But people have adjusted, and will adjust, and there's still plenty of stories to be told. If
Yes.
we talked about Mulan earlier, if there was a Asian or Asian American character from history,
Mm.
or real person from history, I should say, that you could play, who would that be?
Oh, that's a good question. And I can't say Mulan.
You can say Mulan. Look, there was a real world adaptation of Mulan, and maybe they need to do it again, because that one unfortunately was shrouded with a little bit of controversy, even though I thought it was a very good film.
Yeah, no, I think, oh man, it's like there's so many legendary Asian women across history. There's um, Patsy Mink, who's like
Hmm.
I believe the first Asian American woman elected to Congress, and so she was a
Yeah.
politician and an attorney. She fought for like women's rights, education, and she wanted to inspire young people to pursue their careers in like activism and public service. And for me, um, social justice has always been very important to me.
Hmm.
So, education, social justice, making education available for more people, because it gives you so much more freedom and ability to have the life that you want. So, I think, yeah, playing Patsy would be pretty fun.
That's great. No, that's someone that no one's mentioned before, so I like hearing that answer. Um, our podcast is called United by Rice, and we
Mhm.
ask everybody this question, which is, if you had a favorite rice dish. I like to describe it as
Mm.
the comfort moment. Long day.
Oh,
What's your go-to rice dish?
oh, oh gosh, rice is very fun. I would probably do uh, white rice with mapo tofu.
Uh-huh,
So I like a little spicy. It's also like I'm from the Hunan province in China,
uh-huh.
and I think mapo tofu is one of our signature dishes, is my understanding. So rice with mapo tofu and uh, like Japanese eggplant.
Oh, it added to
Oh,
the mapo tofu, or just on
oh,
the side?
like two, yeah, like the tofu, the eggplant, and the rice. Like
Yeah.
that's like
A-
perfect dish right now.
yeah,
Ooh,
and spice level, 1 to 10, how spicy do you like it?
3.5.
Okay, no, that's fair. I'm about a 4. I think whenever I'm presented the option of, like, I don't think I should go much higher than that, because who knows what will
Right?
happen. So 4's good. Yeah.
I've definitely like I was eating in China and everything I was in the south like in the south part where it's a lot of people really like spicy and it tasted so good so I kept eating but I'm crying and eating and I can't stop
Yes.
and I'm like this is such a weird sensation and I love it but ow.
Yeah. There's some
So
food
I'm a
like
little bit of a
that.
wimp.
Like banchan chicken. I know it's Cheney, but they only have 2 flavors, right? They have like the soy or the spicy, and the spicy is the one, even though it does make me like tear up and it's painful. But getting
It's
the
so
other one is
good.
just, yeah, but the other one's too plain. So you just have to make that decision sometimes. So yeah, I agree. Well, it's a pleasure having you. Congratulations. And I really
Thank
look
you,
forward
Ben.
to seeing how your career progresses. But I also look
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you cosplay Iron Fist. So we're going to need to see photos of that. So
Yes,
thank you
we'll
so
do.
much.
Thank you, Ben. Have a nice day.